another episode of the Local Recruiter Podcast. I'm your host, Brett Clementson. If you're a recruiter, out on your own, or just lacking general advice or mentorship, you've come to the right place. Now today, we are joined by Charmaine Keegan. Charmaine, welcome.
Brett, thanks for having me.
You're very, very welcome. Now, why have we got Charmaine on today? She is not a recruiter, believe it or not, but she's going to bring unbelievable value to you guys because I engaged her a couple of months ago to do an in-house training session around sales, business development. I like to try and get ideas from outside of the recruitment world because it gets a bit insular in any industry, I think, if you just keep doing the same thing as everyone else. So I thought, let's bring Charmaine in and let's see what wisdom she can bring. And oh my goodness, we had a few hours with her and our brains were just exploding with excitement. And so I thought she's got to get on the podcast. So here she is. And with the amount of knowledge and training ability she has, the challenge we had was, what are we bringing to this episode? So I just said to her, if you had 10 minutes with a bunch of sales hungry people who are in recruitment, what are we going to talk about? Charmaine, I'll let you do the rest.
Thank you, Brett. So, recruitment's all about people, right? People understanding other people. It's a people business. You've got to know how to communicate effectively. You've got to know how to manage expectations. You've got to know how to sell. We're all selling, how to influence in the right way, how to have authenticity and how to have integrity. So the topic I've chosen is how your client is sold in the first minute.
Like it.
Brett, that's what I've chosen.
I like it. The elevator pitch?
No, it isn't to do an elevator pitch. It's because, the reason I chose that is because I'm frequently asked, and my team are asked by directors and by recruiters and by all sorts of businesses, my team need help closing. I hear this probably 8 times a day. My team need help closing. As though the close is this separate little section at the end where they just go into close. And my big thing is, no, it's nothing to do with the close. The close, as we know, Brett, is a consequence of all the front end being done right.
Yes.
So when you go in right at the front end and you do everything at the front end, within the first minute, that client either goes, this guy, Brett, yep, he knows his stuff. I trust him. He's the authority in his field. What everyone here listening needs to be, the authority in their field, the subject matter expert, the trusted advisor. And your client needs to feel that in that first minute. And when they do, then honestly, the rest of it's quite easy because then they can open up because they know that you can educate them and you can guide them and that you can give them the right solution and you can pitch it correctly. It's all down to how you operate in that first minute, really.
I like it. And have you got any red hot tips around that?
I have. So let's say one of your listeners today is going to call up somebody the next couple of days. Let's pretend, right? Something came through, a lead to them on their website or something. They're going to call up. What tends to happen is we go, oh, great, lead. And then we quickly call them and they go, oh, yeah, come back on Thursday, could you, Jeff? And you go, yeah. And then that's it. You drop it till Thursday. So what I'm saying is, what can you do to pre-sell the client between now and the meeting? So there's a whole list of things that you can do to let that client know before you've called them on that day that you are the person they need to be speaking to. So things like, it's obvious things, right, Brett? So you look at their LinkedIn, you look at what they care about, you look at their website, you connect with them on LinkedIn, of course. If you're not really connected, you start to look at their posts, you comment if it's relevant, and if you're adding some value, you like and you comment. You might think to yourself, have I got on my CRM anybody else in that organization I need to look up? So any previous engagement, anything you think might be a challenge before Thursday. Basically, you're preparing yourself mentally and you're preparing yourself in terms of what the content may be before Thursday. And then the idea is you're pulling that sale towards you. So let's say today is Monday and then Thursday you've got the meeting. They said, oh, thanks very much, Jeff, call us back on Thursday. What can you do today? Well, maybe you send a short email with one-liner. Looking forward to our conversation on Friday, Sam Smith. On Thursday, Sam Smith. Here are what other directors have said, and it's your Google reviews or something like that. If you've got a lot of Google reviews, then you just put it in one liner. The reason I'm saying one line, Brett, is because if you put too much in there, they may not open it up. So you might send that underneath. You could change your signature. Your email that's going to come through is real estate. So does your signature scream, I'm the person that you can trust? Forget calling other people. You're in the right hands with me. So think about what it says. Have you got frequently asked question link? Have you got something that you may have looked at the notes and thought, oh my goodness, the previous person there thought that we were too big company or small company? So you might put a little review on there from somebody else. So you're really thinking way before Thursday, how can I pull that sale towards me? How can I show that I'm that trusted advisor? How can I do my homework? How can I be prepared? And so other little things like the calendar invite. Often people put in calendar invites like, I'm looking for particular recruiters, I'm going to say, and anyone that's got that core sales history, which is like really great at getting on with people, put them in a crowd, they just get on with everybody, right? But they might say things like, I'm looking forward to talking to you about my business, their recruiting business. That is not what a client needs to hear. They need to hear that you're all listening. So looking forward to hearing more about your business, hearing more about your situation, looking forward to finding out more about. So you're already saying, I'm not going to be doing the talking, I'm going to be doing the listening. And to me, if that pitch on that short email on LinkedIn, you've done all those things, what happens, not only do you, let's just say, Brett, well, sometimes if that doesn't happen, you turn up Thursday for that hour meeting, they go, oh, the other two couldn't make it, sorry about that, and I've only got 20 minutes, right? And we've all been there. And you're like, oh, and then you end up spray and pray, right? Show up and throw up, spraying all the features and benefits. They care about something. But if you pour the sale towards you and they look at these little snippets, and maybe there's 2 days later you can say, oh, I just noticed on LinkedIn today you posted this blog we had a few weeks ago might be of value. If you're already adding value before your meeting, they're going to go, hold on a minute, this person means business. This guy, Jeff, that we're going to see, they might loop in other people in their business to be in that meeting and they won't reduce the time. So everything about before your first minute and then that first minute is setting you up as someone that they see, we call it like not equal to them, but you're actually the trusted advisor in their eyes. And so that very first minute needs to be really your true authenticity, what's the key word I could use? Your intent. Your intent is to partner and to collaborate, rather than your intent to sell out and persuade to come with me. That's old school, right? A lot of people here listening will have come from old school. I certainly came from old school, right? Gift the gab, they'll be good on recruitment, they'll be good in sales. But instead you need to go, how can I help this customer? Sales is helping, right? How can I help them? So if your intent going in is I'm here to help, and I mean not subservient, not thanks for your time, thank you so much for your time, putting them out like you're subservient, because that doesn't mean you're equal or you're an advisor. But if your intent is to partner, collaborate and help, everything you do and say will follow that intent. So they can see as a client that you've done your homework, that you give a damn. And when you say, as far as I'm concerned, this is all about you, how I can help you. Let's find out more about your situation, Sam. And then I know how we can help you better. When everything about you is oozing, I'm here to help, the client feels it.
So let's put ourselves in the shoes of, let's say there's a recruiter and they've got no work on, they're scrapping for work, they're really struggling, and then they get a lead. They get a client who bites. I'm not sure how they're generating that lead, but they've got a call that's come through or an email that's come in. I've got one! I got a fish on the hook. What are the steps to, I want to understand, what are we telling them? Because they're the ones that are going to go in there and just try to oversell the moon because they need this. I think I understand the answer because you pretty much just gave it to us, but this is the sort of person I think that needs this more than anyone. Yeah. Because the other side of that is a busy recruiter who probably doesn't have time for it, but then they almost ooze this confidence of look, I'll get there, I want to help, I've got a couple of weeks ahead of me that I can't get you in, maybe I can slot you in next week, that whole pull marketing thing, right? But I reckon the person who's going to get the most value out of this is that one that's struggling for work, finally I've got a nibble, I've got this thing on, this thing come in, what next?
So the big picture there, let's just make sure they've got lots of nibbles that are out there. So they're constantly doing their BD development and they're refining and looking at their data. Did this LinkedIn reach out work? Things like I get a LinkedIn reach out about 30 times a day and immediately I accept and they spam me straight away. They don't know me. There's no building relationship. They go straight into, we can do this for you. And it's and I often actually unfollow. I'm like, we're out of here because you haven't got to know me. You haven't done, you haven't followed me, you haven't got to know me, you haven't commented. There's an order and sequence. So first for those guys, let's have an order and sequence, learn how to be refined on BD, learn how to get those leads in. Then what you need to do is breathe, because you don't look, what you've just said, what you don't want to come across is desperate, because we can all feel desperation, and that whole thanks for seeing me, that would totally come across, and you're right, you'll definitely flip into spray and pray because we're so desperate. Now, not saying we should be casual and blasé, but I think it's all of everything's mindset. You know, every industry is mindset, but when it comes to recruitment, it really is mindset. When it comes to sales, it totally is mindset. So I always think you need to anchor on each morning, why would someone do business with me? And then remind yourself of all the positive outcomes that you've got so far. Let's say you've got a few clients on board already, don't know how long they've been in business for, and if you haven't been in business, just think forward. If they come with me, what they're going to expect. How is it going to look? And visualize and change your genetic expression to be that of a winner. So you're breathing and you're listening and you're thinking and you're going, right, that's it. People that have come to me. So basically it's like if you ever stand up in an organization, I always say to them, do a success stand up every morning, 1 minute. So called yesterday, guys. They were really grateful for what we did last week. We positioned the right person. They love them. You know, so every morning have that moment to allow yourself a success story. So you literally change intrinsically inside out to be that of a successful person. So you're already vibrating success. Because then, and then I would break down, just do everything we've just said, that when you come from a place of success, you're not leaning in desperate, you're solid, and you have key words here. You have confidence and certainty. And what is the client buying into? Confidence and certainty. So you do all the other steps that I said. You reach out beforehand, looking forward to hearing more about, look up all their LinkedIn posts, look up their things. If they're not on, they're bound to be on LinkedIn, but if not, look at their website. I'm looking forward to see how I can be of assistance to you. I don't mean it's it's not subservient, it's just, you've got something that they need and it's a transaction. You're building a relationship up when you're first there, but it's a transaction. So I would suggest that, Brett. But while I'm on it, one more thing to consider. A lot of people come into recruitment and to sales because they're good at talking. Right? They're big talkers. On the extended DISC profile, they'll be called what we call extroverts and people orientated. So if anybody here listening has done extended DISC, that's the high I type. Now, a note about high I's. They spend way too long on rapport. Way too long. How is your sister and your daughter? And they don't read the signals. They think that if the person, it's almost as if the person likes me, they'll buy off me. That is not true. If the person likes you, they'll spend time talking to you. If they trust you, they'll buy off you.
Yes.
So what that person's got to be is the trusted advisor, not just a good talker. Because if they like you, yeah, they'll talk to you till the cows come home, but they'll buy off somebody else that they trust. So it's all about being the trusted advisor. And one more hint there, I'd say get them to watch their language. You know, a lot of people just don't think of their language. Unfortunately, we can't, or but, or however, or so I'm a bit late. It's all quite subservient language, rather than I'm looking forward to finding out about, and yes, moving forward, we can do this. So really learn a lot about language, and because it lands in the client's head differently if it's negative language.
I love that. And there's so much to unpack here, but look, we're 12, 13 minutes into this episode, and I try to keep them condensed, and I said this will be a challenge at the start, but I think, look, if anyone on this episode got something out of it, great. These are almost like the tabs of all these ideas you could explore. There's so much depth to what Charmaine's giving us. I would encourage you guys to reach out with her. I'll try and bring her back on for more podcasts when I can, if she's willing to do it. But look, if you do want to reach out to her for some one-on-one stuff or working with your teams, 100% recommend it. 100% recommend it. Just a half day, a full day. It'll change the whole outlook of your team. So, Charmaine, I'm going to leave it at that because I think that was a good place to end it. Thank you for jumping on.
Thanks, Brett. Always a pleasure.
No worries. Guys, as always, like, share, subscribe. It helps us grow. If you got anything out of this episode, write a comment, say yay, whatever. It all helps. As always, have an amazing day. May all your deals and your closing in the first minute come true.